Ek het lus vir nog Siddharta. So hier kom nommer 34. At the end of the village, the path went alongside a brook, and at the edge of the brook, a young woman was kneeling and washing clothes. When Siddharta greeted her, she raised her head and looked at him with a smile, so that he could see the whites of her eyes shining. He called across a benediction, as is customary among travellers, and asked her how far the road still was to the large town. Thereupon she stood up and came towards him, her moist lips gleaming attractively in her young face. She exchanged light remarks with him and asked him if he had yet eaten, and whether it was true that the samanas slept alone in the forest at night and were not allowed to have any women with them. She then placed her left foot on his right and made a gesture, such as a woman makes when she invites a man to that kind of enjoyment of love, which the holy books call ascending the tree. Siddharta felt his blood kindle, and as he recognized his dream again at that moment, he stooped little towards her and kissed the brown tip of her breast. Looking up, he saw her face smiling, full of desire, and her half-closed eyes pleading with longing. Siddharta also felt a longing and the stir of sex within him as he had never yet touched a woman. He hesitated a moment, although his hands were ready to seize her. At that moment, he heard his inward voice, and the voice said, "No." Then all the magic disappeared from the young woman's smiling face. He saw nothing but the ardent glance of a passionate young woman. Gently he stroked her cheek and quickly disappeared from the disappointed woman into the bamboo wood. Before evening of that day, he reached a large town, and he was glad because he had a desire to be with people. He had lived in the woods for a long time, and the ferryman's straw hut in which he had slept the previous night was the first roof he had had over him for a long time. Outside the town, by a beautiful unfenced grove, the wanderer met a small train of men and women servants loaded with baskets. In the middle, in an ornamented sedan chair carried by 4 people, sat a woman, the mistress, on red cushions beneath a coloured awning. Siddharta stood still at the entrance to the grove and watched the procession, the men servants, the maids, and the baskets. He looked at the sedan chair and the lady in it. Beneath heaped up black hair, he saw a bright, very sweet, very clever face, a bright red mouth, like a freshly cut fig, artful eyebrows painted in a high arch, dark eyes, clever and observant, and a clear, slender neck above her green and gold gown. The woman's hands were firm and smooth, long and slender, with broad gold bangles on her wrists.